What you're looking at right here is Mercedes' next, the successor to the EQE, the E-Class with EQ technology, or the Mercedes E-Class EQ. And I think this looks, I don't think anybody can disagree that this looks so much better than the EQ. And I am so happy to see Mercedes going big, getting back on track with their designs. I'm very excited for this, to see what this is actually. I think it's going to look pretty good, to be honest. If we have the big GLC grille in the front end of the E-Class, I think it's going to suit it better than the GLC. I'm also going to show you all the generations from 1984 up until today of the E-Class and what went wrong with the EQE. It's pretty easy to see what went wrong, to be honest, when you look at the lineup like this. I mean, it's no mistaking which one sticks out in this lineup and that they should have just never made in the first place. I'm also going to let you know which one of these is my favorite E-Class. But before we do that, let's have a look at this article from Car Scoops. Let's see what this new E-Class EQ is all about. So Mercedes' new E-Class EQ is coming to right the EQE's wrongs. Many, many wrongs with the EQE. It echoes the ICE-powered model and ditches the jelly bean look. Thankfully, we don't have any more jelly bean design. As Mercedes themselves said, which was pretty interesting, they said that the EQE was too futuristic for their customers, and that is the reason why it didn't sell. I don't know, maybe it would sell if they dropped it in 10 years. I highly doubt it, because the design itself, the core fundamental design of the EQE had nothing to do with any sort of Mercedes sedan from the past. So it also visually just does not look good. And we need to have clean, classic, elegant designs specifically if we're going to sell a Mercedes sedan. I mean, sedans and Mercedes, they've always been, top of the line, so you got to get that right. And they definitely did not get it right with the EQE. Replace the slow-selling EQE. It's expected in 2027. It could share tech with the C and GLC EVs. Heavily disguised, of course, this prototype. It follows in the footsteps of the C-Class EQ, which I honestly don't think I've seen what that looks like, and could be mistaken for that model. Changes including traditional door handles and side mirrors located at the base of the A-pillar. You can see it right here. I do like the integration of the side mirrors right here. I do like it when you sit on the door as well, on the shoulder line. Looks pretty sweet. It also appears to have a flatter belt line. Expect, of course, an expressive front fascia with the bold grille from the GLC and the C-Class EV. And you can also probably expect the star headlights with the star pattern in the front end like we have on the regular E-Class. Those are the graphic features. You have the wide lower intake as well as temporary headlights. These are not the production headlights that sits right here. These look like way too simplistic of a design to be the production headlights. You're most likely going to have the star pattern here. They actually dropped a official sketch of this, so we can kind of see what the graphic details are going to look like in the production version, just based on the sketch that we have. So the profile closely echoes the standard E-Class, which is great. I mean, just look at this. This now looks like a proper Mercedes sedan to me. You can't really tell the difference. You can't tell if this is an EV or not, just based on the proportions. And that was the big problem with the EQE. It just looks, like everybody said, it looked like a bean. But look at this. We have an A-pillar that goes down. Look at what happens if we follow this A-pillar all the way down, straight into the front center point of the front axle, even though it is an EV. And that is exactly what we want to see when it comes to proportions for specifically a Mercedes sedan. We need to have this classic proportions for the sedans. It appears to have extended rear doors as well. Not sure if I can see that here. They don't look too extended to me. They look like pretty standard size. And also a larger greenhouse. Maybe curved trunk and a subtle spoiler in the back. You have a diffuser there as well. The electric sedan could follow in the footsteps of the GLC. If it does, the model could sport a massive 39.1-inch MBUX hyperscreen like we have right here. Now, this actually, when I did the video on the GLC, I said that I honestly, even though I don't like these type of screens, obviously, as I'm sure you know already, but this integration of the screen is something I appreciate, because it flows very well with the rest of the interior. And we're probably going to see something very similar to this, the GLC interior, in the new E-Class EQ. So you have a 94 kilowatt hour battery pack. in the GLC, which is this probably is going to take some technology from 800 volt electrical architecture, 188 miles in about 10 minutes of range, 483 horsepower. Range is great as well at 443 miles, coming close to Audi's numbers here in the real world. Now, again, look at this design here from a side view. Beautiful proportions, looks like an internal combustion engine. I also actually like the wheel, even though they are black. But the design looks to be pretty sweet. So let's jump into Photoshop here. Have a look. I mean, look at this lineup of the E-Class is such a legendary car for Mercedes that they cannot afford to mess this up one more time like they did with the EQE. Even though the new E-Class internal combustion engine looks pretty decent still, I definitely still prefer the older generations. And it's kind of strange because for me, it doesn't matter what brand it is, BMW, Mercedes, Asian brands, American brands, whatever. As soon as a new car comes out, I find myself always preferring the older generation. I think that has to do with this integration, like, combining the car that has been such a special product compared to any other product out there, combining that with all the technology and all the apps and all the AI and, automatic driving, autonomous driving and stuff like that. The older cars are just becoming more and more desirable to me. The more new cars I test drive and the more new cars I look also at the designs. So looking at the lineup here, starting with the 124 up here from 84 to 95. I do believe this was in production from. And I mean, look at this. This is a German tank, luxury tank. Look at this shoulder line here, how beautifully sculpted this is with a nice chamfer going across the entire shoulder line here. We have a box for the greenhouse. Typical Bruno Sacco design for this design. And this is what he wanted the W140 S-Class to look like. If you look at the S-Class, it has a bit of a dip in the greenhouse area, in this area, the belt line. And he said that the greenhouse for the W140, he did not want it to stick up as far as it actually did in the production version, but he couldn't win that fight or win that war with the engineers, and he didn't get his way there. This is what he wanted the W140 to look like as well, just a tighter greenhouse up top. And if you get this with the facelift, where the grille, the front end of the grille, the two lines that goes from the hood with the facelift of the W124, has a much smoother integration in the facelift, and get that in black with the AMG wheels. It is probably my top 3 Mercedes vehicles of all time. I think W140, Mercedes R129 SL is probably my favorite Mercedes of all time, and the black facelifted W124. Now looking at the 2000 E55 AMG, and these wheels right here, these have to be some of the most legendary wheels ever made from any company. And we also have this typical early 2000s AMG styling, and you cannot get this car in any other color than this silver right here. It would just be wrong, in my opinion. If I were to buy this, I would wait until I find a mint silver E55 from 2000, because this is it's a gorgeous looking design. Even though when the front end, when it came out, the front end very controversial with these two lights, two separated light units in the front end. But the design overall, I mean, it's such a cool car. And this looks so much more nimble than the W124. The 124 looks like a tank. It looks like a solid unit. But here, it got a lot smoother, as you can see, a lot rounder in the shoulder line here, and this typical early 2000s styling that I absolutely love. It's overall just a gorgeous, gorgeous looking vehicle, this 2000 E55. Going into, I do believe this is a 2004 E55 in this case. Still, I love the wheels here. You can see we got more of this. It looks like it went to the gym. And for some reason, I feel like this is a much more beefier design than the earlier 2000 vehicle up top. It just feels like it added a little bit more mass to this. and went back to the solidness of the early 80s or mid 80s E-Class up top. It's still a very gorgeous looking design, and these are the AMG styling that we have across the entire lineup of this era, even in the R129 SL. Also got these pieces right here, the C55 as well. You have the S55 and the ML also got these, typical. This is early to mid 2000 AMG styling that also, I just love this era of Mercedes. I mean, if you couldn't tell, these three right here, these are my favorite. This is my favorite era of the E-Class. More so this one, the 2000 right here, and also, of course, the first generation of the AMGs up top. And the further down we go, the less desirable this car becomes to me, even though this is still a very, very beautiful car with these very sharp lines going back to the original 80s E-Class. You can see here we had a rounded greenhouse. It became more round from the 2000 to 2004, and then they went back to this more boxy shape, which I love to see with this design. And I'm also a huge fan of this, of course, with these new styling that we have, the boxy styling, and the wheel design looks great as well. It's a fantastic vehicle, this thing, the wheel design and the overall power that you have in this. I remember reviewing this. I was surprised just how quick this car actually is, the E63 of this era. Now, coming into the previous generation of the E63, very smooth. They went back to a bit more rounded design here, very subtle and smooth lines in the surfaces here. Very beautiful line flow. This is probably the car that has the best line flow of all E-Classes, because look at this. We can draw this line here going into the bumper. We have a nice line connecting from the corner of the headlight, dipping all the way down into, fades right into before it meets the corner of the taillight right there. The greenhouse got a lot rounder here in this generation compared to the previous one. And have a look at the hood. I mean, this is a power bulge right here, sticking up very high up, creating this muscle feel over the front end. And the front end itself has a very graceful design to it that I love about this generation of Mercedes E-Class. It didn't have this frowning grille. It still had the more gracious, smiling grille in the front end. The wheel design as well look very, very cool, even though I prefer these because these are silver and a little bit more simple in its design. These black wheels, always been a huge fan of these as well because we still have the silver outline around it. So when this car rolls down the highway, it doesn't just look like a black hole where the wheel is supposed to sit, because thankfully we have this silver outline creating this nice line all around the wheels. Now, coming into the E53 of today, I reviewed this maybe 2 months ago or something like that. Great vehicle, fantastic car, even though we're missing the V8 now. And I definitely still want to have the V8 back because the AMG GT that I also reviewed just last week or a couple of weeks ago, I felt that powertrain, it's like it is made to be in this E-Class. It just feels so natural to slap that V8, twin turbo V8 into the E-Class as well, because this is still, it's not a small vehicle, this thing. And the V6 is great. You get a lot of power in this, but you can't compare a V6 to a V8. You're missing, there are two completely different personalities when it comes to characteristics and noise and all of that. Now, what happened here? Now, if we go through this entire lineup of E-Classes here, and we come down to the EQE, I mean, to me, it's not a surprise that this didn't sell. Just look at this thing. It has zero personality to it. It looks like the most generic. If you were to make a video, a movie, like in the 2010 or something like that, and you wanted to have a futuristic looking car that blends in the background of the movie, this would be it. It has zero personality. The boxiness is completely gone. And we don't even, nothing is defined in this shape. Everything is just too bland. And of course, Mercedes buyers were not a fan of this because it doesn't have any sort of connection to anything that Mercedes has done in the past. And it's overall just not an attractive design. So that is the reason why I'm very, very happy to see that Mercedes is going back. Even if this is going to be a full EV, we still have the 3-box design that Mercedes needs to implement in sedans bigger than the Mercedes C-Class. This is the E-Class. Of course, the S-Class also need to have these type of proportions. C-Class, you can experiment a little bit more with some rounded proportions and styling and key graphics and stuff like that. So very nice to see the Mercedes are back at it. Hopefully they're not going to mess this up with some weird graphic now. I think it's going to look very, very nice, even though we're going to have the big GLC grille in the front end. I have a feeling it just suits the E-Class better for some reason than just slapping it onto the GLC, even though the GLC might actually grow on me when I see it in real life.